The advanced air mobility industry really started taking off in 2016 with the publication of the Uber's urban air mobility white paper. And so now that led to this position today, which I'm happy to share, the work that I've been doing for Urban Movement Labs over the past year and a half or so. Los Angeles's history with transportation technology and mobility innovation. We can look back as recent as 2012 when ride sharing was deployed and really challenged how the public right-of-ways were being utilized within cities and communities. In 2016, the LADOT published the Urban Mobility in a Digital Age document. A technology such as electric scooters just appear on streets overnight, really put a lot of communities in a tough position to where they were forced to be reactive rather than proactive around the planning and integration of these kind of technologies. In 2017, the UAM industry first announced its intentions of looking at Los Angeles as an initial launch market. In 2018, LADOT started utilizing the mobility data specification, which is a way for the city to push and enforce digital policies around transportation technologies such as electric scooters. In 2019, the Urban Movement Labs was initially formed in the mayor's office, and we were originally envisioned to be a transportation incubator that would reach out and work with the industry to understand how the industry is evolving. I mentioned the Jetsons, flying cars, this really futuristic Blade Runner type stuff, but we know that when aircraft are first certified in 2025, it's going to be operated in an aviation system very, very similar to how aviation is operated today. So departing and taking off from traditional airports, using the existing airspace structure, the way it's organized today, so on and so forth. And so we want to make sure that we're not getting lost in the future, but are planning today. In 2021, the Los Angeles Department of Transportation released the Urban Air Mobility Policy Framework Considerations document. And what this does is established a high-level vision for the city and how the city of Los Angeles might see urban air mobility taking shape within the city as a way to complement the existing transportation system. Our primary job is to add a bandwidth for the city, so they can continue focusing on the issues of today, such as homelessness, the housing crisis, public safety, things like this. Urban Movement Labs adds the additional staff and the additional bandwidth to start looking at what does the future look like in terms of transportation innovation, and providing a foundation of information so that the city is not starting from scratch when this technology may or may not emerge overnight and become a reality.
OIAA, Ontario International Airport Authority, is the agency now running that airport, and I've been helping them guide airport planning, different development projects on airport, and wanted to share a little bit of updates today with the group. And so talking about what activity is looking like at the airport, everyone's probably sick of talking about COVID, but I think it's important to look at how this airport's recovered. And it's really telling when we look at the numbers to see how fast the recovery has been, particularly at this airport. And when you compare that to some of the other Southern California airports, thinking through the opportunities and challenges that arise, there's a lot of opportunity for growth. There's a lot of projects ongoing. I'm going to cover a few of them under the planning for the future. And then just some of the considerations about staying ahead of the curve going forward and what we need to be mindful of. So we can advance through this next one. So just want to share a couple slides about activity recovery. So just like everyone was aware, significant drop-offs in activity during the pandemic, but what's really striking is the very rapid recovery of Ontario International Airport, consistently hitting about 500,000 passengers per month. We're exceeding pre-pandemic levels. And it's happened much quicker than originally forecast. FAA publishes what's called a terminal area forecast. And originally, and even most recently, they're looking at recovery to pre-pandemic levels in 2024. And we're going to exceed that yet this year, in this fiscal year already. When we look at the next slide, which has the rolling average or rolling counts of annual passenger activity, we're going to expect about 6 million passengers more or less this year. Having a lot of additional activity comes with consequences, and making sure that the airport's doing its due diligence in both NEPA and CEQA and outreach are key considerations. And some of the other key things to talk about too, customer service can't be overlooked. Making sure that the folks at the airport and the community are engaging and really advertising why this facility is a great gem in the region, that you don't have to drive an hour and a half or 2 hours over to LAX. And sit in traffic for hours and hours and hours. Folks are probably familiar with this in the region as the multimodal connection. HNTB is working as the program manager for this project to connect Rancho Cucamonga Station with the airport and some sort of innovative technology. It called this presentation Planes, Quasi-Trains, and Automobiles. I guess we could call this the quasi-train technology to be finalized as we work through it, taking advantage of growing and accommodating air cargo to make sure that we're bringing in the facilities where they want to be, since we're building all this warehouse space in the region. It certainly has some cumulative benefits to the region to have those operations fly into Ontario rather than fly into LAX or somewhere on the west side and be trucked anyways all the way across the basin. But also embracing new technologies to improve our efficiencies, lower costs, and continue to make Ontario International Airport the wonderful place it is.
In July of 1942, the airport was renamed to San Bernardino Army Airfield, and the San Bernardino Air Depot was established. The facility's primary function was to repair and maintain aircraft, which is still partially true today. In May of 1950, the base was renamed to Norton Air Force Base, and in 1989, it was put on the base closure list, and the last facilities were abandoned in 1995 and officially closed. But so this last August 4th, we introduced Breeze Airways, which now has nonstop flights daily to San Francisco and Provo, Utah, which is a huge advancement for the airport because we have a domestic terminal, but it hasn't been used in decades, if you will. The airplanes that they're using are the Embraer E95, which is a single aisle, two and two seats, really comfortable, and it's pretty. So the San Bernardino Airport was ranked the top 20 airports in the United States for cargo. And as you know, we have UPS since 2018 employs over 400 employees, and FedEx 2018 as well, over 100 employees. And everyone's known that Amazon Air, which is our new tenant there since 2021, it has an amazing facility that they've established there for their processing of product going in and out with 2,100 jobs and still growing today. So as I mentioned earlier, the airport is still heavily involved in MRO, the maintenance and repair and overhaul, with AeroPro that does a lot of the painting and some of the interior work, certified aviation, maintain and modification installation, as well as some overhaul. The executive jet maintenance of heavy maintenance and airframe and avionics repair. And the whole idea is to make this distributed, because hydrogen is very unique in the sense that it's very difficult to transfer with piping. The piping is very expensive. It's typically stainless steel. You can't use normal piping because the molecule is too small. We're also in some final engineering stages for fast charging stations internally for our ground support equipment. We already have two ground support equipment that's all electric, staircase and lav truck, and we're working on expanding that. We have about 76 vehicles that are targeted to get converted over to EV and or hydrogen vehicles. The fire department is extremely excited about this for more of the heavier drones, so they can take some of the equipment to forward bases and drop them off instead of having their firefighters hump these things all the way up to the front, and they're exhausted by the time they get there. We can simply drop this off. There's been some testing that we have that we've been able to take a couple hose packs and under the flight, under the 50-pound limit, and drop them off to a forward base.
Right.